Was ist das? Das is Haas. I'm playing my Haas Barrier next level recursion deck and I'm up against a noise player. Now, this game is really epic. Probably one of the most epic games I've played in a long time. It's competitive and it has a rather unexpected end board state. So I would encourage you to watch through the entire game, which I think will span over 2 videos. Now, I'm going to try this for the first time. I'm going to record a video commentary of me commenting on a video of me playing Netrunner. A bit convoluted, but this allows me to start the video and pause whenever I like, so this should be a lot more convenient for me, so that I can explain stuff better without having to rush over the video. So let's get down to it. I have an opening hand of a couple of ice, so I'm going to keep it and I play 2 architects here. Architect is amazing against noise because when you expect Faust noise, what happens is they need to pay 3 cards from their hand to get past Architect. 2 cards if they have Data Sucker, but that's fine. Either way, I'm taxing for a lot of cards, and that is always good against noise. This is one big reason why you play HB against instead of NBN, because your ice has multiple subroutines, and more importantly, they are not parasitable. Architects cannot be parasited down, so he always has to pay 2 cards, and that really slows them down. It means that I'm immune to medium and lamprey early on pretty much. So let's see what he does here. I encountered some technical difficulties earlier on, so this first turn is taking quite some time to play out. At the end of the video, please do leave a comment in the comment section on whether you like this new style. One consequence of recording a video of me commentating on a video is that the image quality, the video quality is probably lower because obviously it's a video of a video, multiple levels of compression, that's not good. Turn 1, Street Peddler, Cash, Data Sucker, run. Run last click. This is a fatal mistake. Never ever run last click. He pays the price, obviously. I believe he could have had a Faust in his Street Peddler, which was why he was feeling so secure about running. But it's HB. You have to expect that the ice is high strength, multiple subroutines. He only has 2 cards in hand. He can't possibly break my Architect with Faust. So I get a free Vitruvius. He threw me a freebie there. I installed the Vitruvius from my hand, obviously because I do not want him to get it on HQ access. He sees my Breaker Bay Grid. I think he trashes it. Yep, with 2 credits. That's fine. And I'll just take the freebie here. I score the Vitruvius. Now let me pause the video here. Every time you try to score an agenda like this that does nothing for your board state except to give you 2 more agenda points, i.e. like scoring a build, a breaking news, you have to consider the consequences. By scoring the Vitruvius, I'm now down to 1 credit. What does this mean for me? I am very vulnerable. If he liberates a medium of the Street Peddler, which he can do for 2 credits, he can dig R&D 4 times next turn. I have to be prepared for that. I have to be prepared to lose maybe up to 6 cards from R&D because he will score agendas, steal agendas, and then dig further down my R&D. Am I willing to take that loss? Yes, for a simple reason. I have an Architect on R&D, so I can guarantee that on my next turn, I will be able to, at the bare minimum, click for 3 credits, getting me up to 4, allowing me to res Architect next turn to deter him from running R&D again. So this is why I feel secure about scoring the Vitruvius. I can give him free R&D runs next turn, and I'm willing to take that risk, because I cannot afford to leave a naked Vitruvius on the table for him to run and steal. So that's the rationale behind me scoring the Vitruvius. I think it's the right move. Bringing myself closer to 7 agenda points is key, because you need to rush against noise. No question. He liberates a wild side from Street Peddler, which is good. This means no medium. And it means that he only has 3 clicks to work with for this turn. He sees nothing on R&D here. Let's see what he does for his next 2 clicks. The asset in the remote is a Jackson Howard I installed from R&D. I believe on R&D I saw a lot of crap. I think I saw 2 agendas, 2 Jackson Howards, and the top cards in NAPD. So this is why he couldn't steal the NAPD on R&D run. Here he does very silly thing again. He runs my asset with 2 credits. What are you expecting to do? Are you expecting to find an agenda? No! He should have ran it with at least 3 credits to trash an Adonis, or in this case the Jackson. You have to trash Jackson as noise. So here I ice up Archives and click for a couple of credits. I know that a second Jackson is coming up on R&D thanks to Architect giving me foresight, so I'm happy for him to trash my Jackson in the remote. But here he does a smart thing. He installs an imp which mills a Jackson Howard. Look in my heap right here. I'm exiling one Jackson to recover the Jackson that he just milled with imp. Normally I would let him just trash the Jackson, eat up one imp counter, but here I need to sack Jackson to recover Jackson. I cannot have two Jackson Howards in the heap. That's not good for me. So this is a very good play by him. Whether he knew it or not, it really forced me to use up my first Jackson Howard very early on. And he hasn't even really started noise milling yet. I find a Turing, and obviously that goes in the remote. No questions asked. It's not criminal, so I don't have to worry about creating a new remote without the capability of rezzing the ice. Most importantly, I'm setting up the remote. I'm getting a free HB credit. I'm preparing myself for a future turn. Most likely, I'm going to install the Sand in the Turing remote unless I see something better from R&D. I'm also making sure to check his stack, his heap, to make sure that there are no parasites, because insta parasite will now be a thing now that he has two sucker counters. But I still feel pretty safe at this point. As long as I keep myself above 4 credits, I can easily defend HQ and R&D. Architect on both servers is one of the most secure things you can come up with. For any corp for that matter, not just HB. Click one draw. I see my second Jackson Howard. And I also see a Breaker Bay grid. What will you do here? I do not want to install a naked Breaker Bay grid here. I would rather install the Sand City grid. Sand would most likely attract an imp counter, which is good. Whereas Breaker Bay grid can be easily trashed with credits, and that is bad. And we all know that Turing can easily be passed through as long as he spends 3 clicks. So I must be aware that the remote is not impenetrable. Hence I install the Sand here and gain a credit, because I'm not seeing any of my HB assets campaigns, which is pretty bad. Without campaigns, I'm not able to score agendas. Against noise, I can afford to score agendas in remotes, never advance them. I don't have to use Sand City Grid. Sand is expensive, it can be easily trashed with imp. It's not the ideal line of play. In fact, perhaps installing Sand was a mistake after all. I perhaps should have installed the Breaker Bay Grid instead, to prepare myself for drawing a campaign. In any case, that has been done, can't do much about it. He runs R&D and I slap him with another Architect. Very annoying, and he actually lets me fire it off. I see no campaigns once again. If I saw a campaign here, it's going straight in the remote, no question. This is quite sad. So what do? Bronze, Hedge Fund, NAPD, Toll Booth, Turing. You might not actually guess what I'm about to do here. Of course, I don't install the Toll Booth or Turing because it's too expensive to res. I install the NAPD from R&D. Because I don't really need to install the Bronze anywhere. Where will I install the Bronze? I'd rather keep the Bronze in my hand to defend the weaker server when the time comes. Right now, there's no need to install the Bronze. So what I'm doing here is to install the NAPD in a remote. It's very hard. It's impossible for him to steal NAPD given how few credits he has right now. And this is the Breaker Bay grid. I install it naked because there's no other place to place it. I can't place it in the Sand remote. This should hopefully attract an imp counter, but he does a smart thing here, I think. He uses credits to trash it. Oh no, he uses imp. Fantastic, mission accomplished. I know the Breaker Bay grid was going to be useless for a long time because I don't see any campaigns coming up anytime soon. So I allow him to trash the Breaker Bay grid, use up one imp counter. I have absolutely no intention to purge. Purging viruses counters will take too much time. So I know that the next top 2 cards of my deck are next Bronze and Hedge Fund, neither of which he trashed with imp or virus milling. So obviously my first click was to draw Hedge Fund and play it. This will allow me to get lots of credits, and now I can do stuff. I place an Eli on R&D here because I'm worried about a medium dig. He still does not suspect an agenda on R&D, in the remote, because I'm not scoring it right now. So I'm just gonna leave it as it is. Next turn, I'm going to attempt to score it. Yes, I could actually score the NAPD immediately by triple advancing it and rezzing Sand. That is a possibility. But I know that that's a very bad move because I cannot defend the Sand after that, after losing 9 credits, and he would simply imp it. I could purge virus counters now. He has clone chip. He will get an imp back. I shouldn't attempt to do that. So the next best move here is to slowly score the NAPD. I know it sounds tough, but I'm gonna do it because he has no breakers out. So the next bronze protects the remote, and I double advance my agenda. He fetches an Aesop's and begins getting to work on his economy. Now he actually has some money. This is going to be a little tricky to deal with. Alright. I don't know what he thinks the advanced card is. It could be a global food initiative. I'm definitely feigning that. I'm hoping that he buys it. We'll see if he attempts to contest my remote server. It all depends on whether he has files available for him. He probably has drawn a files by this point, but I feel pretty safe knowing that I have a Turing on the remote. And yeah, there's the Faust. So I know he can't get through my remote. I know there are no agendas in archive, so I leave him be. He can run it. I'm not gonna rest the Eli. I'm now focused on defending the NAPD. Alright, run it if you will. That's fine. And with his last click, I think it's pretty obvious. At this point, he's going to run my remote. So the good news is he cannot steal my NAPD. The best he can do is to trash it with him. I do not rest the next bronze because he's just going to break it for one card with Faust. I rest the Turing. So he cannot break it with Faust, he cannot break it with clicks. David. But he accesses the Sand first, and this gives him a dilemma. Does he trash it with him? If he doesn't trash it with him, he can trash my NAPD with him. Let's see. So despite him being silly with running last click into my architect, he makes the smart play here. He does not trash my Sand, which allows him to trash my NAPD with him. This is the absolute right play, and it set me back heavily. I lost 2 clicks and credits worth of tempo by advancing the NAPD. And now I have to guard archives because he can steal it anytime. I draw into my second breakaway grid, again not useful. And I install Jackson Howard to defend against the agenda in my remote. in archives. I'm trying to bait a remote run here, mostly because I need to install Jackson in a safe place, but more importantly, if I can suck up his David counters, I will be in a better place. Because as you see in my hand, I have 2 Turings. A Turing plus Turing remote is very nasty for Noise to deal with, and I'm looking to construct exactly that. But first, he installs him and attempts to run my remote, and I think at this point I do rest the next bronze. There's no reason not to really. It will cost him a card or a parasite from clone chip. Either way, it's good news because a parasite on next bronze instead of next silver is always a good thing. So I think I res it here. Just tax him more. But it does sadden me that I have to use my second Jackson Howard so quickly. Okay, I res it. Let's see what he does. Do you think he'll use Parasite or do you think he'll use Faust? I'm not sure what the correct play here is. I think you can actually afford to discard 1 card to Faust, especially because you have 6 cards and your max hand size is 5. I think... yeah, he has to use Faust here. He realized quickly that he only had 4 memory and he cannot bring out Parasite as a result. Without Grimoire, he is definitely hurting because he needs the David, he needs the Imp, and he needs the Sucker. Because without Sucker, he cannot break the next bronze. So he does discard 1 card to Faust, gets through the Turing, and I'm forced to sack my second Jackson. So this is actually not very good for me. And of course, this means that I can imp my Sensitivity Grid. Again, not the end of the world, because now I'm sit with 2 Senses in archives, I believe. I think now I switch to a more never advanced style of play. Especially looking at my languishing credit pool, I cannot afford to advanced agendas via Sensen. So instead, I'm just going for the slower play. Playing slow against Noise is not a good idea. Don't try it. Kids, don't try it at home. It's not gonna pay off.
How long he can sustain running.
He now has his entire outside Aesop's chronotype combo out, which means I am in huge trouble. He's gonna just install mad viruses from here on out, and it's not gonna look good for me. Adonis and Breakaway Grid are in the remote now. This is very good news for me. Even if he gets through my remote, he only has 1 imp counter, and Yep, he runs my remote first click, and he's gonna have to break his entire rig just to get to the end. Breaking his entire rig meaning spend his imp counter, spend his card from Faust, spend his last David counter just to trash my economy. But this is the right play. It actually hurt me quite a bit that he denied my asset economy once more. He has been milling and denying my asset economy very well. I cannot get a foothold here. Now this will be a perfect time for me to install an ABT of Vitruvius in the remote. I would have done so if I actually drew into any of those agendas. I don't. I only have an NAPD. I cannot afford to install advanced at NAPD right now because he's rich enough to steal it. So I do the next best thing, Christian Grid or R&D, in preparation for an inevitable medium run. And this is where things get really dicey for me, because now that Noise is partially set up with a wild side draw going, he can start milling me out very quickly. And this is where I begin losing. I might have a secure remote, but it has nothing in it. I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing. I have no bot state. I have a secure central defense, that's about it. So he clicks for credits here, which is good news. It gives me a bit of breathing room, but I know my next bronze is dead. It's okay, I'll get my Turing. And here I really wish that was an ABT. It isn't. But I do get an Eve from a draw, so that's fine. At least I finally get some money going. And I place a Turing on the remote, I believe. That is a very smart thing to do. So double Turing, good luck getting through. Or put it in other terms, you're not getting through. So he pawns his imp, and now he actually has a good amount of credits to deal with me. So now he has milled one agenda and ABT using the parasite on my next bronze last turn, and with the new data sucker milling a Vitruvius, I suddenly have 4 agenda points in archives and he makes a run there. Of course I'm forced to rest the Eli, but suddenly the tables have turned and now I'm in the losing spot because he can very well be halfway towards victory if he clicks through the Eli. Why does this have to come after I sack 2 Jackson Howards? This is the worst. So needless to say, because I have such a small credit pool now and no upgrades with which to protect my centrals, let alone my remote to score agendas, I'm in a very bad position right now. Will I be able to scale back, climb this uphill battle, and forge my way to victory? Or will Noise simply mill me out? Tune in to my next video to find out. Thanks for watching, happy net running, and see you next time.